before the talk, let me introduce myself. I'm an author of SwingJet, which is the most popular dependency injection framework in iOS and Swift. And also I worked at Mercari as the engine manager. Okay, so Crashlytics. I think a lot of people here already use Crashlytics because it's really easy to use. And to use it, just install the Crashlytics and add the following line to the finish launching app. Finish launching with the options method in application. Like this, just adding public with Crashlytics cell. So it's really easy to get the crash report. Just this one line. One important thing here is logs are sent to the Crashlytics server when the app is restarted after crash. And also, the logs are sent after the finish launching with the option passed. So if you block main thread as this method, the logs are not sent to the Crashlytics server. So these things are important things, but anyway, it's really easy to use. But you have more. It's some options, very useful options. Like this, for example, you can add user IDs or email address or username to crash report with this single method of Crashlytics, like set user identifier or set user email or set username. So it's really convenient if you want to take a crash report that is notified by some customer support in the company you work at. Like this user is claiming some crashes, can you check the problem? So in that case, you can search the crash report by username or user ID or email. But be careful with the user email and the username. I'm going to tell about the problem later. So another good option is key value pair. So you can add some object like string or bool or int or float value with a key to crash report. So you can use them like the remote config state, like Firebase remote config, which value is applied to remote config, or A/B testing, A pattern or B pattern, or version of downloaded resources of JSON code, not JavaScript code, if you use like React Native. The limitation is maximum pairs 64 and only 1 kilobyte for key value pair. So if you want to add a lot of keys using JSON for one key, might be a good idea. And you can also add custom logs with CLS log function. So you can add the logs before you can check some user action or any logs that happened before the crash. So it also has limitation that maximum is 64 kilobyte. It's like almost 1,000 lines if one line has 50 characters. And all the logs are deleted when it overflows. And also you can add non-crash report with record error sync method. So it is categorized as non-fatals in the crash report, Crashlytics dashboard. But one limitation though, you have to be careful is the logs are sent only when the app crashes. So the non-fatal logs are sent to the server if the app didn't crash. So this can be used, this can be used for serious error, but it doesn't cause a crash. And the limitation is maximum is 8 errors followed by the crash. And also it hosts CPU, so it's like observer effect. If you add this non-fatal error logging, the behavior of the app might have changed, or timing of sets can be changed. So that is one thing you have to be careful. Okay, I'm going to show a demo or just how you can see the crash report. So I think a lot of you know how to see the crash report. Like I think you often see the stack trace like this. But if you want to know the detail of the use flow option, you need to click here, view all sessions. This. And you see so keys and logs switch, and I'm showing the keys now. So as I told, like A/B testing A or B button or remote config 1 on 0 or any value are added to the report. And also you can see the logs that have logged before the crash. So before the crash, in this example, build log was log hit first, and then some API get some values or code before the crash, and you can see what the user took the action before the crash to investigate the crash. And also here on the right side, the someone is the username I added. The username, and the next one, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 9. This one is the user ID I added. And here is someone at test.com is the user email I added. So with those information, you can check you can filter or search crash report for specific user. So for example, I search the crash logs that happened for the username someone, or maybe I can find some crash logs for myself, Yoichi, and you can also search crash logs by email. And here is the type or category of the crash report. You can only see the crash report on all non-fatal logs like this. So this report is like, it didn't cause crash, but it is really serious for your app. Okay, so it is the advanced usage of Crashlytics. But after GDPR, you need to take care of something here. So GDPR. So GDPR is General Data Protection Regulation in Europe. And so in the regulation, you have to handle private or personal data of citizens living in Europe. So it's like, just a few examples is like report or announce the user if the unauthorized data access is taken to the user. So in 3 days. So data breach or the personal information breach or that kind of unauthorized access should be reported only in 3 days. And also you need to remove the user data upon request from the user. And also you have to, the company should have the data access policy, user data access policy, and right controls. For example, the private or personal data is like name, address, or email address, or ID numbers like social security number or my number in Japan, or passport information, online data like IP address or geolocation or cookies, and health-related data, biometrics data also. So not only those things, but also other things or more things are personal data specified in the GDPR. So the big thing is huge fine or penalty if the company breaks the regulation. It's like 4% of annual worldwide sales or turnover, or 20 million euro. Actually, the larger value that applies to the company. So a lot of companies going into bankrupt for the GDPR. And it's effective to EEA, actually not EU, but EEA, which is European Economic Area users. So it's like EU plus Norway and Iceland. And it's effective to company, even the company doesn't have headquarters or office in Europe. And it's effective on 25th in this month. But you may have to complete everything specified to GDPR, but some mandatory parts should be completed, but some other parts can be just, you can tell the company is preparing now to pass the regulation. Okay, so problem with Crashlytics is, the username and address. So with the convenient option of the Crashlytics, if you send the username or email address, anyone in your company who has the account of Crashlytics or public can see the username, which can be your name, and also the email address. And with the action logs you added, if you add it, so for example here, Yoichi, check this view, and Yoichi, do something with this view in the app, or that kind of personal information is revealed to anyone in the company. So it doesn't have right control, access control for personal data. So this can be a problem if you already use the advanced option like username and email. So be careful for the money, big money in the company. And here's more info about GDPR. And this one is information from UK, ICO, and this one is blog post about from Classmate, which is a Japanese company, but it also has an office in Europe. So I think this blog post is really insightful for a Japanese company that has office in Europe too. Okay, thanks.
Any questions?
So you mentioned that can you get the username and email address from the user, but why would you do that? I mean, it doesn't seem like a good idea under any circumstances to just randomly collect this from a user's device. Like, when is the case when you would collect this data?
Like email address?
Yeah,
Or that?
like phone number, email address, username. I would be freaked out if someone were to contact me like, hey, your app crashed. How about that? Like, how do you know my email address?
Email address is often used as an account, like user account can be often email address. So, so some data passed on the server side backend might contain the email address as an account name. So if you add the client side adds the email address to the option of Crashlytics sent to the server of Crashlytics, can be happen.
Well, yeah, but it just doesn't sound like a good idea.
It
It would make things easier for you,
Mhm.
but at the expense of the user.
Yeah, so I think it's that idea. I agree. So before the GDPR, some people don't care or didn't think serious sending the user email address to the Crashlytics, but GDPR is coming soon, so all of us should be careful to send that kind of personal information to any server or any services. I agree with you.
This thing only gets the information that the user puts in the app. This toolkit only gets the information the user puts in the app. So when you say email address, it's the email address I enter into the app to log in. It's not like the iCloud email address associated with the device, is it?
So can you repeat the question?
When you say that you can collect the username and the email address, you're talking about the username and the email address that the user has used in the app. It's not like you're reaching out and getting like the system iCloud account information, is it?
I think it depends on the app. I think if the app uses iCloud and it has access, or if the app collects the email address for iCloud in the app itself, and if the app sends the email address to anywhere, not only the person, to any other services, it can be a problem. I didn't answer to your question.
No, I'm saying, can you collect, can the toolkit collect system level, like email address, like my iCloud information without me giving it to the app?
I don't think so. So typically here, for example, Mercari, the Mercari app uses email address for the account of Mercari account. So that kind of email address can be easily taken. So not only Mercari but also any other app or services that uses email address, so that can take user email address easily for the account, for the app itself.
Okay, cheers, thanks.
Thanks for the talk. My question would be, did you try to measure what is the practical impact of not collecting versus collecting this data? I mean, as you said before, people were just collecting data because they could. But now it's more limited. And what kind of practical impact it is? Is it a really big deal not to collect, or practically speaking? Or it doesn't make a big difference in debugging?
For debugging, I think the user ID that is used only in the services, that is sufficient. So you don't need to use the user name or user email address here. So I recommend to use only the user ID that is just a kind of random number or hash or just serial number in the service that that can be used to get personal data only in the service with the system administrator or anyone who has the right access.
And it's pretty much enough, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much enough. So yeah, I recommend to you send the email address or username to the Crashlytics.
So just to respond to you, so in my company, we never collect this data. And I can't remember a single crash that needed this information, either username or email address or everything. So it's like, virtually none of your crashes will be helped by this information, so we don't collect it.
Yeah, that was my question. Practically, how would you use it?
It depends on company.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so
Can I offer a plausible scenario where you're a business and you have customers, and maybe your customer doesn't care so much about privacy issues, but the customer is, I don't know, a major enterprise or something, and they're using your app, and the app keeps crashing, and your customer is angry and is calling you, like, why is my app crashing? And you're like, okay, well, we have all these customers, how do I identify the specific crashes that relate to this customer so that we can fix that problem? So email address or something like that is an identifier of an account, and as we're talking about, maybe there are other identifiers of accounts that you could use, but actually to link a specific crash to an account of a user is actually a useful thing that I think a lot of businesses might want to do depending on it. But I think part of what this talk is saying is, maybe email address or something was a lazy solution that you might not want to go down that road, but you might want to, in your business, think about, okay, if we need to identify specific accounts when we're looking at crash logs, how can we do that in a way that we, maintain compliance and not be, threatened by it?
Separating two things, customer care and developing purpose logging. It's kind of different things. When the user sees a crash, he calls and he has face-to-face persons that help him with his crash. But we're talking now about this developing logging, which can be actually, that's correct, I agree that emails is just too much to collect, but that's why the GDPR comes and says, hey guys, if you collect emails, make sure that you ask permission and make sure that you keep this data in a safe place. If you can't do this, use some kind of software that anonymization this email.
That's a fair point, because even Crashlytics gives you the possibility to give hashes, right? So key register. So you basically could collect location and basically whatever user tapped on agree in this security button, right?
yeah, that is one regulation.
Yeah. So yeah, I would agree. Maybe ID is top of the line, is enough to identify user, and location and such things is just superfluous, basically.
Yes.
Thanks.
And thanks, Matt, for the great example.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.